Hi there, I'm Linda Hauck, and I was a technical delegate in the sport of eventing for over 21 years. Well, as a technical delegate, you wear a fairly large hat when it comes to the organization of a show. So now as a technical delegate, you typically arrive at the show the day before or 2 days before. And the technical delegate really has the biggest job I've always felt of any of the show organizers because the entire showground facility is really under our watchful eye. So the day or days that lead up to the actual show day, the technical delegate needs to inspect all the cross country jumps. That means measure every single jump, the height, the width, uh, where it's being placed. Has it been secured properly to the ground? Is it safe? Is it fair? And that can be for however many levels, from pre-entry all the way up to advanced, depending on the level of official or technical delegate that you are. You need to inspect where the dressage um, rings are going to be, where all the warm-ups are going to be, where the show jump course is going to be. Is the show jump area completely fenced as it needs to be? Where's the parking? Where are the in and out routes? What roads or tracks on the cross country will an ambulance need to travel if we do need to get an ambulance out to a rider? Do the dressage judges, do they have suitable chairs and tables and sheds to sit in, depending on the type of weather that you're going to experience? Do you have the GPS coordinates? Do you know where you would land a helicopter if you actually needed someone to be airlifted from the horse show? So there's so many things that goes into being a technical delegate, and really important things like signing off on the timetable. The secretaries are to give you the timetable before the actual show day so that you can look at it, make sure that it looks like it makes sense. Because on the actual show day, you could have multiple rings happening at the same time. So really, my pre-inspection days are everything that I've just said, and working closely with your course builders and course designers, as well as the ground jury. So typically on the day of the show, if the ground jury doesn't show up the day before, then you need to meet with the president on show day and say, look, I think we're okay with how everything's set. I'm happy that the show carries on. Or, and it has happened, I've taken a member of the ground jury out to maybe a section of the cross country course that I didn't think was safe given weather or perhaps a fence. You're not going to typically do that on the day, but the day before, if there's something that you're worried about and things aren't flowing maybe the way they could or should, then you have to work with your ground jury and the organizers. So really, on the day of a show, I'm just making sure that the show is safe, things are happening the way they need to be. If there's any queries between riders, no, I didn't get that refusal, or why do I have time penalties? You very much have to act as a liaison between the rider, the jump judge, perhaps the ground jury. Sometimes a rider doesn't like your decision, so that's fine. I'm going to pass it on to the ground jury and then they can work on it. So the day of the show, um, there's a lot of work to do as well. You're there at least an hour before the start of the show because you need to re-inspect all the courses, make sure an animal didn't knock something over in the night, check the footing. If you had rain, do I need to alter the course? Do we need to put footing down? So a technical delegate really has, I've always felt, the biggest job really of any of the officials for a horse trial. Traits that are needed to be a technical delegate, I've always felt that you should have ridden, I would have thought, to at least preliminary level. I just feel that it gives you that intuitive sense to how, more importantly, how a cross country jump is going to ride, whether you're on a young horse or whether you're on an experienced horse. How a green rider might present to a jump, versus an experienced rider. So I've always felt that you've got to have some years in the saddle, preferably the higher the better, and coaching as well, because it helps to give you a well-rounded approach on, okay, here's a combination out on course. This is how I think it should be ridden, and how are people going to interpret that, perhaps. You have to be great at multitasking, because honestly, you can have dressage running, cross country, show jumping running, and you've got a walkie-talkie, and you're working with everybody on the grounds, be it your show jump judge, your controller for cross country, and you really do need to be very good at, okay, I've got this happening, I've got that happening, okay, I'm still on time, and be very good at just working different tasks throughout the day. Personal skills, that can be a work in progress. Certainly something that I had to work on with my tenure as being an official over 20 years. You get lots of different personalities that you have to work with: organizers, ground juries, competitors, parents. But yeah, you need to, like I said, it was an ongoing journey for myself, and I certainly appreciated the feedback I would get from some of my best mentors that I thoroughly enjoyed working with over the years. You need to be confident slash thick-skinned, because as a ground jury member said to me years and years and years ago, you don't become a TD to make friends. And it's so true, because um, I've been an official where I've had a student compete or whatever. The rules are the rules, and you have to enforce the rules regardless of who's coming up to you to say, you know what, I don't agree with what happened. Okay, no worries. I'm going to go, have a chat with the jump judge, and I've got to get their point of view, and then I'll come back to you. And some people will get very aggressive with you because they don't like what they see on the scoreboard. And you just have to say, look, this is what the protocol is, and I'll get back to you on that. So you can't be taking any of this personally. In some of it is in the heat of the moment, and you just deal with it as it happens. So sometimes you're flying to an event, sometimes you're driving a long way. So that can be an issue, especially when you're trying to do pre-inspection. So I have officiated out west, and I've officiated out on the East Coast. So, the best you can do is get there a couple of days beforehand. You can't be flying back and forth or driving back and forth long distances. So that can certainly be a challenge. Um, Sometimes you will come across poor organization, and you've got to try and look at the bigger picture, worry about that which is most important. Yeah, you may not have food on site for the day, or it might not be a high-tech ambulance. Bottom line is it safe, is it fair, is it in the rules, and make your judgments based on that. Many times you can go to an event and there won't be enough volunteers. So that's when the multitasking, kind of kicks in, and you have to be good at problem solving, because then you can start grouping fences together. So here is a jump judge. You can see clearly 3 jumps. I need you to look after 3 jumps. Yeah, just be great at problem solving, and not getting hung up on, oh my God, I don't have enough jump judges for 30 fences. Well, guess what? I'm sure you can double how many jumps that they can see. Some of the other challenges, again, I've said it before: conflict with riders and coaches regarding time penalties or quits, or dangerous riding. More often than not, if you have to talk to a rider about inappropriate riding that you've seen, or the ground jury or someone has seen, more often than not, that the coach is actually really quite on side with you. Just be fair. Just be fair to everyone. I don't care if it's your first time rider or it's the Olympic rider. The rules are the rules. We follow the rules for everyone the same. I started in the 70s, the late 70s eventing, and I had some really good mentors. Tony Stain was one of them. And I really enjoyed how he approached the job as TD, right? You helped the organizers, you tried to make the day run smoothly. And I just really enjoyed some of my early mentorship. And so that actually um, really was part of why I became a TD. I like to organize. I'm very good at multitasking. I've always felt that the horse deserves a voice. Someone needed to be there for them to say, what, I don't think this fence is whatever. What could we do to make it more horse friendly, let's say? And yeah, just working with different course builders and other officials, and traveling to different parts of the country. That's been a ton of fun. If you're considering working at all in any capacity with a show, a horse show, be it, the jumpers, the eventers, dressage, definitely, dressage, go and be a scribe for a dressage judge, and, and see how the day actually unfolds. And, same thing with show jumping. Go and volunteer your time to be at the in gate, or there's so much that you can learn, eventing. Go and help them set up the dressage ring. That's one of the hardest things you can possibly imagine, trying to get that ring rectangular. So there's lots of ways to get experience for contemplating whether you want to be an official or a steward at a horse show. They're always looking for people to volunteer. The most satisfying part of being a TD, is at the end of the day, you've had a show run as best as you could to time. You worked with a great bunch of people. No one got hurt. No horses got hurt. No riders got hurt. Everyone was just happy at the end of the day. They felt that they accomplished something. The horses learned something. You had great weather. Those would be the highlights, were, just the shows that ran really well. Maybe I saw a different part of the country that I never would have been to before if I hadn't have been an official. And that's happened a few times. So yeah, that for me would have been a day well spent. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope I've been able to give you some kind of guidance or ideas if you do decide that you want to be some type of volunteer, or you want to get into being involved as a steward or an official. My job was very specific to the sport of eventing, but there's so many different equestrian sports out there today that require some kind of steward or official, and I'm sure they're always looking for new bodies to come on in.